Geometry, we are talking about parallel lines and transversals. Remember, transversals are that line that crosses two or more lines. And today we're going to talk about what if those two lines are parallel. If two lines are parallel and they're cut by a transversal, then, and we need all of our angle relationships, okay? So we're starting with corresponding. Corresponding angles are going to be congruent. Alternate interior angles are going to be congruent. Alternate exterior angles are going to be congruent. Consecutive interior angles, this one's a little different. Those ones are going to be supplementary. Okay, those ones are going to be supplementary. And these are all theorems, all right? They're all theorems. They're the consecutive angle theorem, cut by a parallel line, alternate interior angle theorem. So these are all theorems. So they've got some rigorous background to them. And we know them to be true. Now, one thing I do want to remind you of, we also have two other angle relationships from chapter 1, vertical angles, all right? If there are vertical angles, they are always congruent, right? They've got their V's, the V's touch. And then linear pairs. Linear pairs are always, always, always supplementary. So I will remind us what those look like. That's one of our linear pairs, right? We've got angle 1 and angle 2 there. And then for a vertical angle, I've got two lines that just intersect, and then angle 1 and angle 2 would be congruent. Or we can make that angle 4 and angle 5, let's just say. So now let's actually use these, all right? Let's actually use these. We're just going to remind ourselves if it's congruent or supplementary, then we'll plug in some real numbers. So we've got our little diagram here. You can see that I've got my arrows marking lines, let's call it L and M, as parallel. I'll try and make those cursive-y. And then we've got our transversal T here. So we're going to take a look at 3 and 5. Well, my yellow represents interior, so 3 and 5 are in the interior. So I know that they are going to be interior angles. Are they on the same side, consecutive, or are they on opposite sides, alternative? Well, one's on the left, one's on the right, opposite. So this is alternative interior angles. Hey, alternative interior angles are, ooh, you can't quite see that. There we go. Are congruent. So they are congruent. And this little line with over the equal sign, the tilde over the equal sign, that means congruent. All right, in geometry, that means congruent. So let's take a look at 4 and 5. All right, 4 and 5. Hey, they are both in the yellow, so they're also going to be interior angles. And now we have to decide, are they consecutive, same side, or are they alternative, opposite sides? Well, they are both on the left, so they are going to be consecutive. And the book might call them same side interior. We know that that just means consecutive interior. Hey, consecutive interior angles are supplementary. So these ones are supplementary. So I could take angle 4 and add it to angle 5, and it would equal 180. Unlike with our congruent, for our congruent, angle 3 was congruent to angle 5, right? They just equaled each other. Let's take a look at angle 2 and 6 now. 2 and 6. Well, 2 is up here, 6 is right there. That's weird. One of them is in the purple, and the other one's in the yellow. When that happens, we need to think about our very, very, very special corresponding, because we've got the top left, top right, bottom right, and then bottom left. Same position. Angle 2 is in the top right. Angle 6 is in the top right. Same position. So these are corresponding angles. Well, if I take a look, what do corresponding angles have? They are congruent. They are congruent. So that means angle 2 is equal to angle 6, or it's congruent to angle 6. All right, let's come down here and check out angle 1 and angle 7. Okay, they are both in the purple. That means that they are exterior angles. One is on the left, one is on the right. So they are alternate, opposite sides, alternate exterior angles. All right, when I come up here and I look for alternate exterior, they are, again, congruent. So that means angle 1 is congruent to angle 7. And then our last one down here is angle 1 and angle 8. Angle 1 and angle 8. This one is the tricky one because they are exterior, but they're same side exterior. There's no relationship there. So this one is a nothing. This one's a nothing. It's a nothing. All right. Let's slide up, and now we're going to try these two examples. You can reference the top of your page if you want to. I'm going to try and not move my page at all, okay? Just to make it a little easier, because I know sliding back and forth can be a little rough on the eyes. So if the measure of angle 1 is 65 degrees, and we have lines L and M here are parallel, find each measure for each angle and give your reasoning. All right, this giving the reasoning, extremely important. That's the why. How do you know that? Tell me. So for angle 1, we know it is 65 degrees. They've told us that. I mark it up, okay? And if it really helps your brain, keep going with my color coordination too. So this is the interior, and then this would be the exterior. So for angle 1 and angle 2, what's their relationship? What is their relationship? They are a linear pair, right? They form a line. If I just ignore everything down here and look at angle 1 and 2, they form a line. They're a linear pair. That means they add to make 180. So that means that if I have angle 1 plus angle 2, that equals 180. But angle 1, we know is 65 degrees. So let's plug in our 65 and see what we get for angle 2. I subtract 65 on both sides. Angle 2 is 100 and, not 25, 15, 115 degrees, right? 115 degrees. Okay, so that was angle 2. Now let's take a look at angle 1 and angle 3. Angle 1 and angle 3, they are right here. Hey, they only touch at their vertex. They are vertical angles. Yeah, and sorry guys, I don't know why my formatting messed up again, but it did. So if they are vertical angles, that means they are congruent. So that means the measure of angle 3 is going to equal the measure of angle 1, which is 65 degrees. All right, let's take a look at angle 4 and angle 1. Angle 4 and angle 1. So if I ignore everything else, hey, check it out. That's another linear pair. So this one is another linear pair. Well, we just did that math, right? So that means that this one is going to be 115 degrees. Another way of thinking about that, if you don't like comparing everything to angle 1, you could think about it as it's a vertical angle to angle 2. Okay, so it's a vertical angle with angle 2. It's a linear pair with angle 1. So there's multiple reasons you could put here. So let's do angle 5 next. Angle 5 next. Angle 5 is in the top left. Angle 1 is in the top left. So these are corresponding angles. So that means angle 1 and angle 5 are congruent. So angle 5 is 65 degrees. So now how about angle 6? Angle 6 right over here. So angle 6 and angle 1, they're not in the same position because we already did corresponding. One of them is on the interior and the other one's on the exterior. So angle 1 and angle 6, angle 1, don't actually have a relationship. But angle 6 has a relationship with other angles. So for example, if we wanted to take a look at corresponding angles with angle 6 corresponds to angle 2, right? So that could be the relationship we put here. Or angle 6 is consecutive interior angles with angle 3. That could work too. Or angle 6 is alternate interior angles with angle 4. Any of those work. I'm going to go with corresponding angles with angle 2. Because they are corresponding says that they are congruent. So that means angle 6 is going to measure the same as angle 2. So that's 115 degrees. And then we would need angle 7, right? Then we would need angle 7. So angle 7 here is alternate exterior to angle 1. So that means that the angle is congruent, so it's also 65 degrees. And then I don't know what happened to my angle 8, so I'm just going to add it on there. the measure of angle 8. Remember, that's what the M in front just means measure. So the measure of angle 8 down here, I'm just going to choose that it is vertical angles with angle 6, right? They're vertical. Vertical angles are congruent. So that means angle 6 and angle 8 are congruent. Angle 6 was 115 degrees. Remember, there are many relationships you can pick, many relationships, especially once you figure out a couple different angles. So for our next one down here, and this one again had angle 8 got cut off, which is weird, but I am not going to color code this one. I want you to try this one on your own. All right. I want you to try this one on your own. So pause the video, try it out. Okay, let's go over it together, see if you came up with any of these reasons. Angle 1 we know is 135 degrees. So we're looking for angle 2 first. Well, they are a linear pair, which means they are supplementary. So that means angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180. Angle 1 is 135, so I'm going to plug that in and solve for angle 2. So I subtract 135 on both sides. So then angle 2 is equal to 55. So this angle is 55 degrees. All right, angle 3 is next. Angle 3 is next. Angle 1 and angle 3 are corresponding. So that means they are congruent. So this is 135 degrees as well. Ooh, this should be 45, shouldn't it? Oops. There we go, 45, my bad. Okay, angle 4 is next. Angle 4 is down here. Angle 4 actually corresponds to angle 2. Right, it corresponds with angle 2. It could be a linear pair with angle 3 as well. So there's multiple reasons for this one. So because of that, that means it's going to be congruent. So angle 4 is also 45 degrees. Angle 5 is up here. Well, it is alternate exterior angles with angle 4, right? Alternate exterior angles with angle 4. So that means that they are congruent. So this one is also 45 degrees. Angle 5 is also vertical angles with angle 2. It's a linear pair with angle 1. Many different reasons. All right, angle 6 right here. I'm going to go with its vertical angles with angle 1. So that means they're congruent. So angle 6 is 135 degrees. Angle 7 right here. I'm going to go with that it is vertical angles with angle 4. Because I already know angle 4. So that means it's congruent to angle 4, which is 45 degrees. And then angle 8 right here. I'm going to say that they are, it's exterior to angle 1. So that means they're congruent, so angle 8 is 135 degrees. But angle 8 is also a linear pair with angle 4. It's vertical angles with angle 3. It's corresponding to angle 6. There are many reasons for this, okay? There are many reasons. So there we go. We're going to try this out on this page. This is slightly different, right? It looks slightly different. We're going to have to do a little bit of algebra. One thing I do want to note, I don't know why this deleted itself, but it should say if L is parallel to line M. So if line L is parallel to line M. So the lines aren't marked because I'm telling you right here that they are parallel. Okay, I don't know why it deleted itself, but whatever. So for this one right here, we want to determine the relationship and then we can set it up. So we've got an angle here that's 58 and we've got an angle here that is 5x minus 2. There really is no setup. I didn't label the angles, right? There's no points to name. So we're really just going to set them either equal or equal to 180 and solve it. Well, these are in the top right, so these are corresponding. So that means I'm going to have 58 equals 5x minus 2. To solve that, I add 2 on both sides, so we get 60 equals 5x, and then we divide by 5, so we have 12 equals x. So that means x is 12. All right, for this next one right here, I've reoriented the lines a little bit, but we can see that this arrow is pointing to this angle right here. And then 133 is for this angle. So you'll notice that that's on the inside and they're on the same side, right? They're both on the top. So this is consecutive interior angles. So that means my 9x plus 2 has to be added to 135, and then it's going to equal 180. Remember, those are supplementary. So that means I've got 9x, not 95, silly. 9x equals 130 plus 135 equals 180. Don't know why that one's messing with my brain today, but it is apparently. So I subtract 135 from both sides. So we get 9x is equal to 45. And then when I divide by 9 on both sides, we get x is equal to 5. All right, this one right here. And I'm going to go through and name a couple more relationships. I think you guys can solve most of these for yourself. So this one right here, we've got one that's in the exterior and on the right. This one's on the exterior and on the left. So these are alternate exterior angles. They are congruent. So that means I'm going to have 16x plus 22 is equal to 134. All right, for this one, these actually do not have a relationship. Psyched you out. And then for this one down here, these are both on the interior, but one's on the left and one's on the right. So these are alternate interior angles. I'm using my shorthand because I'm feeling efficient, not lazy, efficient. So because of that, they are congruent. So I've got 13x equals minus 21 equals 5x plus 75. For this one right here, this is in the interior. This one's exterior. So I need to look and see if they're corresponding. Yes, they are. They are in corresponding. They are the bottom left. So that's going to be 11x minus 47 is equal to 6x minus 2. All right, so now let's take a look down here. I want to talk about these two. So for this one, we have to solve for both x and y. Now you'll notice that there are two angles that have x in them. So we want to think about, well, what's their relationship? They're both on the inside, so they're both interior. And then 8x minus 31 is on the left, but 6x plus 3 is on the right. So they're alternate interior. So when I set those up, I'm going to make them equal to each other. Right? I'm going to make them equal to each other. First thing to do when we have this is to move 1x to the other side. I'm just going to move my 6x. So I subtract 6x on both sides. Then I get 2x minus 31 equals 3. So I have to add 31 on both sides. And I'm left with 2x equals 34. When I divide both sides by 2, my x is equal to 17. My x is equal to 17. So now I figured out my x. But what about y? What do we do with y? Y has a relationship with both of these, right? It is a linear pair with 8x minus 31, and it is consecutive interior with 6x plus 3. It doesn't matter which one you pick. Both of them are supplementary. I'm going to go with smaller numbers, and even though these two are congruent, I just like 6x plus 3 more. So 5y plus 35 is supplementary. It's consecutive interior with 6x plus 3. Right? They're consecutive interior angles. So I'm going to set that up so that I have 5y plus 35 plus 6x plus 3 is equal to 180. They are not congruent, okay? That's the biggest mistake I see. These angles are supplementary, all right? So make sure you remember that consecutive interiors are supplementary. Linear pairs, supplementary. So when I set that up, some of you look at me and say, wait a second, you have an x here. Yes, but I know x is 17. So I can take it out and I can substitute in 17. And then I can just solve that, right? I can just solve that. So I've got 5y plus 35 plus 102 plus 3 is equal to 180. So this is really 5y is equal to, all right, I've got 140 plus 140, is equal to 180. I subtract 140 on both sides. So I get 5y is equal to 40. And then I divide by 5. And we get y is equal to 8. I didn't have quite enough room, sorry. All right, for our other side here, for our other one, I'm going to try and, there we go. I want you guys to try this one on your own. Start by relating x's to each other. How are they related? Solve for it, and then compare one of those angles. In fact, do the 9x minus 2 and compare that to y. Set that up, solve it. Okay, let's go over it. So our x's are in corresponding positions. So that means we get 9x minus 2 equals 5x plus 54. They're congruent, right? They're corresponding, so they're congruent. We have to subtract 5x from both sides. Always the best first step to get your x's to one side. We're left with 4x minus 2 is equal to 54. I'm going to add 2 on both sides. And then I get 4x is equal to 56. I can divide both sides by 4, and my x is equal to 14, right? My x is equal to 14. So now that I know my x, let's compare our 10y plus 6 to one of those angles. And I told you to pick this one. That's because this angle and this angle don't have a relationship, but these two do. These ones are a linear pair. So when I set that up, that means I get 9x minus 2 plus 10y plus 6 is equal to 180. But I know my x is really 14. So that means I have 9 times 14 minus 2 plus 10y is equal to, plus 6 is equal to 180. So this is really 126 minus 2 plus 10y plus 6 is equal to 180. When I add that together, so 126 minus 2 plus 6, that gets us 130 plus is equal to 180. So I have to subtract 130 on both sides. So that means 10y is equal to 50. When I divide by 10, we get y is equal to 5. Again, it's very important that you know what supplementary is. Supplementary is when they add to make 180. Please email me if you have questions. We're going to finish this lesson next time.